This is 5 minutes. Ah, okay. Can start. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Also, I welcome all the participants who have joined us online. Today's session, LinkedIn Mastery, build your brand, grow your network, and unlock opportunity. We have with us Jeremy Fritzhen, Chief Executive Officer of Venture Studio. He has over 2 decades of experience in entrepreneurship, business development, and startup acceleration. He has launched and scaled ventures across multiple sectors and geographies. Before joining Venture Studio, Jeremy served as the Director of Startup Services at Alloy Growth Lab, where he supported over 500 startups. Jeremy has a deep connection with India, having spent over a decade co founding and leading Studio Bagru, a social enterprise dedicated to preserving traditional block printing crafts and empowering artisans. His work has been featured in Forbes, National Geographic, Vogue, The Washington Post, and Financial Times. At Venture Studio, Jeremy leads strategic initiatives, mentors startups, and expands Ahmedabad University's entrepreneurial ecosystem. His passion for fostering sustainable and impactful business models aligns with Venture Studio's mission to drive innovation and create a thriving startup culture. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us today.
All right. Thank you so much, Mehak. And thank you all for attending today. Thanks to the folks that have joined online. The presentation is being recorded. I think it should be available afterwards, as well as, I'm not sure if that QR code's working, but I'll share the PowerPoint afterwards as well, so you can review it. I'm really happy to be here with you today. As Mehak mentioned, I've spent actually the last 15 years doing work in India, across India. I spent a lot of time in Rajasthan, and now I serve as CEO of the Venture Studio here at Ahmedabad University. The Venture Studio is a technology business incubator that was started in 2011 in collaboration with the Stanford University School of Design Research. So now we've supported over 170 startups across our lifetime. We've dispersed in the last 3 years 6 CR in funding, and we have 6 different funding schemes that we support founders on. So we're a resource both for local founders and founders across India, as well as the students and faculty of Ahmedabad University. So in case you're interested in learning more about the business incubation, you can reach out to me afterwards, or even if you're curious about ways that we can collaborate, I'd be happy to connect with you. So today's masterclass is all about LinkedIn. So if you're interested, you can log into your LinkedIn account and follow along with some of the tips and tricks that I'm sharing with you today. So why LinkedIn? LinkedIn has a network of over 1 billion users, and it's focused on career, business, and learning. So unlike Instagram, or Facebook, where there's a lot of social aspects to the posting, LinkedIn is specifically about building your professional network and your business. So people are coming to LinkedIn specifically for those purposes, to connect with other professionals, to find different products, services, to understand about companies. So that is really why it's so important to, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, to create one, to keep it updated. And if you are running a business, it also makes sense to consider opening a LinkedIn company page, which we'll talk about here. So it's also a platform that your posts allow to be reached beyond just you. So when somebody interacts with your post on LinkedIn, that'll show up in a timeline, kind of similar to Facebook, where they'll see what you've interacted with, whether it's a company page or a business account or a connection. Then your content actually pushes out to quite a few other folks. It's definitely considered the platform for thought leadership. It's great for sharing business insights, updates about your company, service offerings. It's actually one of the last free marketing tools online that allows you to reach so many people. So with that being said, just a few user demographics here. So as I mentioned, LinkedIn has over 1 billion users. Of those, only 134 million are daily active users. Out of them, there's 65 million decision makers. And now there's just about 3 million weekly posters, according to some of the last published details. So if you're posting consistently on LinkedIn, you're already ahead of 99% of the user base. So with just a few posts a week, you're going to stand out amongst your professional colleagues and your competition. So we're going to start with the personal profile. So on your personal profile page, the first thing that you want to do is create a profile image. So if you don't already have a headshot, I suggest that you take one. Nowadays, with most of the latest mobile phones, they actually capture at such a high resolution. You can use those for these types of profile images. So you want to go into a well-lit room on a solid color background, and you can take a picture with your phone. I always suggest that you smile. It's much more inviting for the folks that are visiting your profile. If you can remove the background and you can add some background colors that match your company colors or your brand colors. And the last point here is that you want it zoomed in about 80% of the image space. So you can see all of these with the check mark. They're clear shots. They're not blurry, solid color background. Whereas it looks a lot better than just having this empty image on your profile. Or if you can't really see your image or there are other people in the profile image, if you're too zoomed in, or if you're off center and blurry. So the second thing that you can update on your LinkedIn profile is your banner image. So I have the size of the image there, and you can use Canva or even PowerPoint as a free editing tool to get the correct size. But it's the first impression that people that are visiting your profile will see after your profile image. So you can list social proof. As you can see in this example here, they have different brands that they're working with, some of the logos of different integrations. Here's a metric, 67,000 plus readers master AI each week through this newsletter. And you can even highlight the offering. So tech consulting, due diligence, agile scaling. Here's one that's suggesting that they join a course. I myself have just an image of Ahmedabad University's entrance. Here's a teacher who has herself in a classroom speaking to students. So you can have an image that matches your professional work. You can customize it here if you want to add logos or if you want to add some sort of call to action. It's important to save 25% of the banner image on the left-hand side of the screen because that's where your profile image will show up. And on mobile and desktop, it'll be covered up by your profile image. So one thing I saw recently, that was it was a doctor that had their profile image, and they put some of the surgery photos on their banner. If you are in some sort of field like that, I recommend that you don't use any shocking photos. That can be off-putting to some of the visitors of your page. And it obviously looks a lot better than just having the default image here on the banner. So also, if anybody online, if you have any questions, or anybody in the audience, you have questions during the presentation, feel free to raise your hand. We can pause, and I'm happy to answer as we go on. So the next thing you want to update on your LinkedIn profile is your work experience. So I'll show this live, but what you can see here is the person's work experience, a sentence or two about what they do in that work experience, and a couple links here. So some folks choose to remove any irrelevant work experience or work experience where it's not linked to an official company page. You want to keep the roles on there that are complementive to what you're working on, and you can add the external links when pertinent, as you can see here. The next thing that you can do on your profile is add a featured post. So that will direct traffic to a specific post that you've made or to a link to content outside of LinkedIn. So if you already have been building up a content stream on your profile, what you can do is you can click on that piece of content and you can choose an option that says feature at top of profile, which I'll show you here in a moment. But it's a great way to spotlight something that you're working on, or a website for your company, a blog post, a product, a news article that is relevant to what you're working on. It's one opportunity to add value to your profile. After the featured post, you can start working on your headline. So the headline is the bold statement that comes right under your name in the profile. Just again, it being a bold statement with simple language or something about your current role. You want it to convey what you do. You want to use simple language, and you can use some generative AI like ChatGPT or Gemini to help you craft the headline. So here's an example: an educator helping students become critical thinkers and lifelong learners. Then there's a vertical post. They do curriculum designing, passionate about education and innovation and student-centric learning. Here's one for a salesperson. I help B2B SaaS companies grow revenue through strategic outbound sales, sales development representative, and customer relationship management expert, building pipeline with purpose. And here's one for a tech startup, empowering SMEs to automate workflows and scale faster with AI-driven tools, build for productivity, designed for impact. So you want to keep it actually 220 characters or less. So here's an AI tip for you. You can have Gemini or ChatGPT analyze your CV, and then with that content, you can ask it, create a headline for my LinkedIn in 220 characters or less. And then you could even ask it to come up with 10 options for you. You can pick and choose what you like from those 10 options and then use that in your profile. So the next one is your about section. So again, you want to keep it to about 2,000 characters. The limit is about 2,200 characters. You want to leverage some storytelling when it comes to talking about your professional accolades or your current work experience. It's best to show quantifiable results. You can provide contact details as a call to action. And you want to keep regular line breaks to improve readability and the mobile view. So another AI tip here is you can ask it to analyze your CV, your bio, any information about you, and then you ask it to write a short bio for my LinkedIn in 2,000 characters or less. Results should maximize readability on mobile, use storytelling, and add quantifiable results. So here we're going to do a live walkthrough, but as you can see, here's the profile that your LinkedIn profile. This is my profile. Here's where your name is. Then underneath that is your headline. You can also choose what you want to show up in this space here. If you want your education to show up, you can also opt in or opt out of your university or institution or school showing up in the profile. You also can put your current location. You can have an external link here. So for me, I'm having it say, learn more about Venture Studio. And then that'll take the user directly to, I think, our Venture Studio link tree. Over here on the right side, you'll see public profile and URL. So this is something that's really important that a lot of people forget about, and it actually makes a big difference when sharing your profile. So you can see my URL is just my last name after linkedin.com/in/Fritzhan. So by default, LinkedIn puts a lot of numbers or jumbles up your name with your LinkedIn profile. So it actually formats a lot better when you go in there and you actually update that. And so what we'll do here is we'll go into my profile here and I'll show some of those. So the pencil icon here is how you update your cover image. If you click the pencil icon here, you'll see that you can change your basic info like your first name, your last name. You can add a name pronunciation. What I suggest is that you try to do as much as LinkedIn asks you to do, because it's said that the algorithm actually ranks folks higher that opt into a lot of the content that LinkedIn is asking from their users. So I've gone ahead and kind of opted into all of those options. What you might also find on your profile is that it asks you to verify your identity. So that's another thing that can make you rank higher on LinkedIn is if you go ahead and let LinkedIn verify your identity. Here's where you edit your headline. There are some additional features when you have LinkedIn Premium, like Write with AI. At the top, you can choose if you want people to allow to connect with you. You can show that you have a LinkedIn Premium badge or not. See here, you can opt in or opt out of showing your company in your intro, which is this here. So if I turn that off and I turn the school off, if we save that, it'll disappear from this place here. You want to update your location, your city. Some people that are in sales and they have a targeted sales area, they'll update their location to be the area that they're doing sales in, whether it's in Europe or the US or Australia. They'll actually set their location within one of those geographies that they're planning to do sales in so that they actually show up on other people's search results. So you can also edit your contact info. So it's recommended that if you want people to be able to reach out to you, you keep this information updated. You can update your phone number, your address, your birthday. If you want any of that in there, you can add a website, you can add a messaging, any of these different messaging options. So what we're going to do is scroll back here. The last thing that you can update here when you click that pencil is the link that will appear at the top of your profile. So you can see it kind of here in the background. Learn more about Venture Studio. So you can customize the text of how it's going to show up if you want it to be some customized text, or you can delete this and it'll just show up as the link. So I'm just going to discard that. I'll re-update this company and you'll see that show up again. And you can see that showing up over here. The custom URL that I was speaking about is over here on this pencil. So you click that pencil there and it'll ask you in this area, edit your custom URL. So you can click there and it'll say your custom URL must contain 3 to 100 letters or numbers. Do not use spaces, symbols, or special characters. You click save and then you have a custom LinkedIn URL. It makes it a lot easier to share it with people. You can also edit the content that's viewable by the public. So if somebody searches your name, it'll actually index on Google. So that's part of the indexed web, as we call it. So if you want, you can edit what content is available when somebody clicks on that. So that's down here. You can see if you want your profile public, you can set it so that only your first degree connections see it, or if you want your network to see it, all LinkedIn members, then you can choose all of the different items that are visible to the public, if you want it to be shown or not shown. So if we go back here to the profile, you edit your about section here. You can add services. This is another optional section that you can add to your profile. You can also add your top skills. So it's important. I think you can add up to 100 skills on your profile. Again, that's something that you want to opt into. The more content that you add, the better you're going to index on LinkedIn. Here's where you set that featured post. So if you want to add, you can add a featured post, a newsletter, an article. You can add a link. You can add media, and that'll show up in this featured box here. So it's good to have at least one featured post, media, or link. Any questions? So as we scroll down here, we get to your experience. Edit with AI. So that's a LinkedIn premium feature. Basically, it's plugged into some language model that will automatically write the about section or write your headline for you. Like I was mentioning earlier, how you can use some prompts to have like a Chat GPT or Gemini write your headline or your about section for you. That's what it'll do. Similarly, if you have LinkedIn Premium and you're creating content, there's a button that will appear that says edit with AI or create with AI. So you write a draft of a post, then you click that button and it'll edit it. Any other questions? So here with the experience, if we click edit there, you can also edit the order. of any experience that you currently are still involved with. So if we want this one to be on top, you can adjust that. Any of the experiences that are still listed up to present, you can adjust the order. So one thing that a lot of folks miss is actually linking their experience with the official company page. And the way we do that is here when we add an experience. So you'll add a title, the employment type, and the company and organization. So if I go ahead in here and I type in Ahmedabad University, if I just leave it like that, the experience is going to show up without the logo of the company. So what you want to do, see, sometimes it'll prompt you, did you mean this? Yes. It'll automatically link it to the university. Otherwise, if you type out the name of your company, you'll see a list of them showing up here, and then you just click on that and it'll link it. You set the start date, the location if that's important to you, and you can add a description if you like. So as you can see here, you have to first type about 20 words until it'll rewrite it for you. You can also add skills to your experience. So if we do this, business development, and we'll add a link here. We'll see how that looks here. I'll just show you. We'll save. It'll prompt you if you want to make a post announcing your new experience. You can post that if you want. Otherwise, you can click out of it. But as you can see here, the skills has been updated to business development, and it adds a link here, a piece of media, which will then automatically link to whatever that is. So it's a good way if you want to push traffic to your organization website, that'll go inside there. So some people also opt into that. So if we keep scrolling down, you click back out of experience. After experiences is your education. If you want to add your education there, just like we added the work experience, you can add, and you can see I added a little text here under Thunderbird with some links to the rankings. You can add licenses and certifications in there that link to different organizations. Here, I'm Yoga Alliance trained yoga teacher, so I added that. You can add volunteering in case you do any volunteering linked with those different organizations. And then this is the section where you're going to add skills. So as you can see, you can add up to 100 skills. And again, it's the more that you add to your profile, the higher that you're going to rank in case that's something that you're looking for to grow your professional network or grow the interactions that you have. So last on your page is recommendations, which I'll get to in a little bit, but this is an amazing way to stand out from the crowd is to have different recommendations on your profile. And so you add recommendations by clicking the plus sign. And then you can say, ask for a recommendation or give a recommendation. What I suggest before you just ask for a recommendation from someone is to message them, hey, I'm trying to build up my LinkedIn profile. I was wondering if you'd be interested in giving me a recommendation. It can come from a past colleague or a current colleague, a manager, a student, a mentor, an advisor, a client even can give you a recommendation about the work that you've done. It's a great way to add value to your profile there. So if you click ask for a recommendation, then you'll search for the people, and then it'll send them a message saying that's Jeremy has asked for a recommendation, and then it'll prompt them to add the text here. Any questions about the profile? Okay, so how do you build your network? Now that you've set up your profile, you have a profile image, you've got a banner, you've added all of your experience, your education, your about section, some recommendations. Now it's time to start growing your network. So how do you find those people to connect with? So this is something that I recommend you spend at least 30 minutes a day. If it's important for you to grow your professional LinkedIn network, put 30 minutes on your calendar to connect with people. And so you want to find pages that pertain to your interest or sector. And then you can follow or connect with those people. And in a couple slides, I'm going to tell you the difference from follow and connect. But here, how do you find those people? So first, you go onto a profile of somebody that is of interest to you. Maybe they're a marketer or a salesperson, or they're tied to some industry that you're a part of. It looks like they have a well-established profile. They have a lot of connections. On the right side of your screen, you're going to see something that says more profiles for you. And what LinkedIn has already done is it's aggregated some of those profiles that are relevant to the person's profile page that you're on. And so what you can do is you can immediately follow those pages if you want, or you can click on those profiles to see what they do, where they are, what, how you can interact with them, what's their offering, who do they work with, and then decide if you want to connect or follow. At the bottom of this more profiles for you, you'll also see a show all. So if you click that show all button, another pop-up will come up on your screen where you can go through and see their profile image, their name, their headline, and their company. And so it's a way that you can fastly connect with people if you don't want to necessarily go through all of their profiles. Then finally, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see this section that says you might like. And these are groups. So LinkedIn groups are discussion channels about different topics. And so you can join those groups. So here it's tech startup CEOs and investors, artificial intelligence, deep learning, and machine learning. Those are things that I'm researching here on Charlie Hill's page. If I click show all, then I'll see a whole list of those groups. I can go ahead and join those groups. So if you're just getting started on LinkedIn, I recommend that you go ahead and you follow at least 10 people there that you think are interesting and join at least 10 of those groups. Your connections will be limited based on your profile. Typically, you get around 100 connections that you can make per week. If you have a premium account, I think they bump that up to 200. But I believe you have almost unlimited amount of follows. So I'll get into the difference again between follow and connect. When you click on the bubble that says people you may know, you have 3 options here. It'll show people you know from your company, from your school, and from your industry. So as you're just getting started, you go ahead to your profile. You've already set it up with your institution and your work. You'll see as we scroll down here, people you may know. So we can go ahead and show all here. And we see from your company. So here we have a student from Ahmedabad University, the football coach at Ahmedabad University, a professor. So if we want, we can just go ahead and we can connect with these people right here. We can just click connect. You can see also from your school, in case maybe there's folks that you have lost touch with and you want to reconnect with them, and from your industry. If you want, you can just connect right there. So what happens when you connect with people? So there's something called first degree connections. Those are really important. Once you're a first degree connection with someone, you can send them a message in case you want to interact with them about a project or a collaboration. And then what you'll see is that everybody that those first degree connections are connected with becomes second degree connections. And so you'll see that once you make a few connections, those will extrapolate out into thousands and thousands of different first, second degree, and third degree connections. And with those first degree connections, you can directly contact them. So some folks have a policy that they never just click the connect button. That's up to you. So what you can see here is the difference between follow and connect. When you go to someone's profile, you'll see the follow button here, or if you click more, you'll see connect. And so one thing that some folks choose to do is they'll send a message. So what follow means is that you receive content from that user in your news feed, and it'll show up on the homepage when you sign into LinkedIn. Any of their content or posts will show up on the news feed and you can interact with it. Connection means that you'll receive that content from them, plus you'll be able to message them, and there'll be a first degree connection. So again, first degree connections are helpful in case you need an introduction to second degree connections. So say you're in sales and you have a product that you want to get in front of a different industry or a company, but you don't have a relationship with maybe the procurement person at that company. You might find that one of your first degree connections is a first degree connection with the procurement manager. So if you have a close enough relationship with that first degree connection, you can send them a message and say, hey, I saw that you're connected with so-and-so. Is there any way you can give me an introduction? So that's a great way that you can use LinkedIn as a sales tool. So when you connect with someone, you have the option to add a note. So you'll find their profile, you'll click more, you'll click connect, and then this box will come on the screen. You can send a connection without a note, but it's recommended that you add a note. So you want to make it personal. You can say, oh, hey, I saw that you work in so-and-so industry. I'm also interested in that. Happy to be connected. What happens then, instead of them just getting a notification that you connected with them, it also will say that it'll show up in their inbox. And so it's one more piece of engagement that they'll see in their account that they'll then go to your profile likely and understand what you do and see if there's any way that you can collaborate. So we talked about the recommendations. It's a great way to boost your profile. You can reach out to past colleagues, advisors, mentors, clients, partners. Try to, as you get started, at least have one recommendation in your profile. So other things to know about here. So it's important to update your contact info in your profile. You may change a phone number or an email or location. Always look to keep that updated. I told you about that link under the page that you can add to an external site. You can also choose which company you want to show there and which education to show at the top of your screen if you have multiple sort of educations or institutes that you're associated with. You want to keep your current job title there. That's something you can make sure of. And if you want to keep your country updated, the relevant work experience, any volunteer work, and at least 5 of those relevant skills. So I mentioned before you have a weekly invitation limit. LinkedIn restricts users to 100 to 200 connections. And if you're curious, there's more info about this at the link in the bottom right of this screen. You also have a daily profile limit in free accounts. So you can only view 150 profiles a day if you have a free account. Whereas if you have the sales navigator, that goes up to 2,000 profiles. You do want to avoid posting excessively or going and connecting with a lot of people at one time, because what that'll do is LinkedIn will notice the activity, the excessive activity, and they'll restrict your account. You want to always monitor the invitations. So when you go on your profile, you'll see activity, you'll see people that have connected with you. You want to accept those, accept or decline the connections regularly. Otherwise, the LinkedIn will adjust your search results. Okay, so some people might be interested in setting up a business profile or a company page if you don't already have that. If you are already in a company and your company doesn't have a profile page, use the correct channels to make sure that you're authorized to either create a page or ask the correct channels within your company to create the page. If you're not authorized, what can happen, or if you notice that somebody has made a duplicate page of your company, you can also reach out to LinkedIn and have them take that page down. So in order to create a company page, you need to have at least 100 connections. And then what you do is you go up here in the box that says for business. If you click that box, you'll see a drop down, and the bottom button here, create a company page. This is not available on mobile. So if you want to create a company page, you have to do it on the desktop. And it'll take you through the steps to creating the company page, very similar to a professional profile. You'll set a profile image, a banner image, an about section, links. You can have all of those things. Really important to note here, don't create a professional profile for your company. A lot of people sometimes get confused and they'll do that. They'll set up a whole new account on LinkedIn as a professional profile for a company. But actually, that's not a good policy to have, because you're not meant to connect with a company via a professional profile. There's specific company pages feature on LinkedIn. And you can't switch from a professional profile to a company profile. So you have to do it from the beginning. That's a really important note. So similarly, like you want to follow professional folks in your network, you should also follow the businesses in your network. So what you can do is you can go to a business page that is in your industry. Here I've gone to GUSEC, which is the incubator at Gujarat University. And so on their page, you can see pages people also viewed. So if you want to follow multiple pages, you don't connect with pages, you just follow them. So if you click that, if you scroll down here, it'll say show more. Then a pop-up will come in here. That'll then show you pages people also viewed. So you can see SSIP Gujarat, Mighty Startup Hub, and you can go ahead and follow. So I recommend, at least if you're just getting started, follow 10 pages of companies or businesses that are in the same space or the space of interest for you. All right, we're going to pause here. I think we have a little bit more time, but I want everybody to stand up. We're going to do a little energizing activity here. Go ahead and stand up, please. This will just take 60 seconds. If you're online, please stand up as well. We're just going to do a little energizing activity here. So we're going to jump up and down a little bit here. Shake your hands. Bounce side to side. Shake it out. Going to twist a little bit. All right. All right, turn to your friend and give him a high five. All right. Okay, now turn to your other friend. Give them a high five. Now turn to the person behind you. Give them a high five. All right, you feeling good? Feeling energized? All right. So I think we have about 10 more minutes here and then we're going to wrap up. So I really appreciate you guys joining me. We just have a little bit more here. You can go ahead and sit down. We just have a little bit more about actual content creation. What time? Yeah, 6:15. Okay, so we'll do another just 10 minutes. The last section is how to write content on LinkedIn. So you've gone ahead and you've created your profile, you've updated your pictures, your banner, your about section. You've also gone and followed company pages that are interesting to you, the business pages, maybe they're academic institutions. You follow their pages and you'll see when you log into LinkedIn the next time, your news feed, so the homepage is going to start to populate with content, pictures, videos, all sorts of links that people are posting. And so that's what we want you to do. We want you to post at least 3 times a week to get started. If you feel like 3 times is too much, you can start with once. Start with once a week and then you go up to 3 times. And then eventually, if you really want to grow your following, it's said that you should be posting at least 5 times a week. And so why should you post on LinkedIn? It builds your brand, it creates new connections, it curates your activity feed, and it also amplifies your reach to get in front of other people. So here are 3 of my most engaged posts from the last 90 days. And they're not very complicated. Sometimes it's just a picture or it's sharing a link. So here we have, all I wrote was, I love Ahmedabad University. All right, I said it may be hot in Ahmedabad, but it sure is green and beautiful on campus. And so I took a picture of some flowers there, and people loved it. You can see here, over 500 likes on that. This has been my most liked post actually on LinkedIn. It had nothing to do with business, actually, but it had something to do with something that my network likes, which is Ahmedabad University. So the next biggest post here was from an incubatee of our business incubator. It's called Nagati, and they raised $2.5 million in their pre-Series A round. So what I did was I acknowledged what they were doing here. I said, big news from Venture Studio Incubatee Nagati. We're proud to share that Nagati has raised $2.5 million in pre-Series A. We add a little bit of context, a read more link, and a picture. In here, you can tag things. So here in the first post, I tagged Ahmedabad University. Here I tagged Venture Studio and Nagati, and I added a link here. The third biggest one was another nature post. So here we had one of these langur monkeys that was hanging out at the Venture Studio. And I wrote casual observer or the next EIR candidate. So my personal brand is some part serious, some part casual. So I like to mix it up so that I'm not always posting about business or opportunities or links. Sometimes it's good you can add some personal touch or something about the environment you're working in. That makes it a little bit more personal instead of just like you're promotional. Yeah, so that's really person to person. It depends it depends to you. What I do is around like 70% professional and about 30% personal. I found that that's a good mix for me. And that's just from, the experience of like what I've seen on LinkedIn and also like what I'm personally comfortable with. I'm not someone I just want to put there's other networks for that. Like, there's Instagram or Facebook if you want to share family photos or kids photos. Usually I don't post those types of things on LinkedIn, but I will put in like a playful post here and there. But yeah, but as you can see, I mean, by the results, people like that. But I think that if I was posting too much of that goofy, content, then it might actually turn people off. So I am a little bit, aware of like trying to keep it mostly professional and then mix in a little bit of personal here and there. Yeah.
he might not be happy to share something on LinkedIn worthy.
Sure.
What do you post then? So if you want to become a thought leader, then you can start posting thought leadership type materials. You think critically about a topic or an industry or a sector, and you mix in some current events and you talk your opinion about what's going on in the industry. If you're not one of those people that wants to become a thought leader and establish a huge following, what you can do is you can share links. You can share links about relevant articles in your space. So if we're talking about executive education and the Times of India releases a new article about the current state of executive education and it has some really good info, what you can do is you can pull a couple interesting points from that article. And you can say, hey, check out this article from Times of India. You know, here are the latest findings about what what people are interested in for executive education. What do you think about it? You always want to end with some sort of call to action, trying to get people to engage with the post. So you can tag the relevant pages and people, but you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to tag like 10 or more different pages in a single post. And typically you reserve tags for things that you want people to click into. So if you don't want people clicking on your post, then don't tag people. But if you like the Nagati post, like I want to send people to the Nagati page so they can learn about it, I'll tag them. Or I'll put a link in the post so that if they're interested in learning more about the fundraise, then they can click on that. So pictures are amazing for engagement. You know, you could see all of my top posts have pictures. I don't think I post anything that doesn't have a picture or a link attached to it. And you can see here, this is the different aspect ratios that fit well in LinkedIn. So if you're going to do 3 pictures at a time, which is nice because it puts it into this format, you can start with a 2x3 aspect and then a 3x2. And I think that actually should be 3x2 as well. Or you can do a 16x9 at the top and you can have 2 4x3s on the bottom. So as you can see here, this is a 16x9, and then we have the smaller ones here. Like this is a wide format followed by 3 smaller formats. So that's something to take into consideration when you post. And when you click create post and you upload photos, you can choose the order that they're in, and you don't have to post immediately. You can see how the photos will lay out before you post. So again, in terms of the content creation, I suggest that you focus on your expertise or sector. You share relevant information, links. So how do you maximize engagement on LinkedIn? Well, we typically do like a 35-minute session. So the first 15 minutes that you're online, you want to engage with content in your newsfeed. That's what we call warming up the algorithm. So you'll scroll through your newsfeed and you want to like and comment on posts. You don't want to overdo it. But what you want to do is you want to scroll and you want to find relevant posts and you like those posts. And in some situations where you think you can add value or you find the post interesting, or maybe it's a friend or a colleague in your network, in order to drive traffic to their post, you'll make a comment saying like, oh, this is great. Thanks for sharing. Or, wow, I never thought about that. Do you have any more information about that topic? And then you can create an engagement cycle with that post. And so you want to do that for about 15 minutes. Then you post your content, whether it's a link or some pictures, you'll post. Then you follow that up with another 15 minutes of heating the algorithm up. So you want to like and comment on other posts again, because as you do that, your engagement will show up on your connections pages. So before you post, you do the engagement. And then when somebody else that's a first connection is scrolling through their feed, it'll show up that Pritam clicked like, Pritam liked this post.
And so then when you post, it'll show up back in that person's feed at the top of their feed. And then similarly, after you post, you can do that similar technique so that you drive engagement. So the other actions that you can do on post are repost. When you click repost, you can share with your thoughts. So when you click here, it'll say share with your thoughts, which allows you to add something here like, oh, check out this article. It has these really interesting points. Or maybe you'll find an event like this event I put on LinkedIn and I reshared it. It said, oh, I'm excited to, be doing a masterclass I tagged the Ahmedabad executive education page. I tagged the venture studio page. And then it was automatically linked to the event. You can also send content to a specific person. So say you're scrolling in your feed and you notice, oh, there's a good article. You can click this send here and that'll give you the option to send it directly to someone, or you can get copy link to post. When you copy the link to post, you can also send it in like a WhatsApp thread or any other messaging app of your choice. So last is you can ask for help or you can offer something. So say there's a job opening, you can post that job opening on LinkedIn, or you're looking to connect. Hey, I'm looking to connect with sales leaders or academicians in this field. I have an exciting project that I'm working on. You can put that out there, and then you can like tag some of your first degree connections so that you get a little bit of engagement. It's a good way to also engage with folks on there. So what do we do with I know we're running short of time, so this is just some of the content creation. For copy editing, you can use the different chat bots. For image editing, you can use Canva and Gamma. And for image generation, you can also check out Ideogram and Leonardo.ai. So here's a content creation matrix. So this was by Charlie Hills, which I have a link to some folks that you can follow. So he recommends that you start with 70% of your posts to be broad, engaging, and relevant to a wide audience. 20% of your content should be used to educate. And then the last 10% of your content should be proof or testimonials, results, case studies. So here's a link to a content matrix creator GPT. So if you click this link on the presentation, then it'll take you through a series of prompts that you upload into ChatGPT about what you want to post about. It'll actually create a content calendar for you. And so it takes a lot of the work out. It'll have the calendar pre-made for you, and then all you have to do is edit the post based on what you want to actually post. So here are some accounts to follow. Justin Welsh and Ruben Hasid are kind of like the top ones that I'm checking out. Like Ruben has all sorts of good tips and tricks for AI. Charlie Hills is another really awesome page for content creation. So last but not least, here is the rules of engagement. So I always suggest you listen and offer connections that might be useful to others. So whenever you learn about something or you connect with somebody that you find their content is like really valuable, share that with somebody. You can click the send button in the post and send it to a colleague or friend. You can always ask, is there anything I can do to help you? So when you're making new connections, instead of immediately asking for something, you offer something. So that's what I mean by spending your social currency wisely. So you want to give more than you ask. You can amplify the LinkedIn posts of others in your network that you care about by reposting. You can use LinkedIn to do your homework before meeting people. So if you're at a conference or you're going to a conference or you're going to some seminar, you can find those people online, learn something about them, find something interesting. If you want to engage with them or make an impact, you go up to them, you say, oh, hey, I saw that you're involved with this and this, that's really interesting. Can you tell me more about it? And you can use LinkedIn to revisit older connections, whether they're from school or other jobs. So that kind of wraps it up here. This is my LinkedIn link here. This is all of my links, my WhatsApp, my email, in case you want to connect with me. I'd be happy to connect, happy to share more. Otherwise, thanks so much. Thanks to the folks that are still online with me. And I think maybe we have a few minutes in case anybody has questions.
Jeremy, this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Thanks for joining.
Pleasure.
Is there anything in the chat there or no? Okay. The recording? Do they? Okay, nice. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you don't, I mean, you can definitely tell when you visit a profile that has too much AI. When I say too much AI, like their image you can tell is altered by the AI. It doesn't look anything like them, or it's a cartoon character. Um, or even in the copy of the post, you see people that are posting that have all sorts of emojis throughout their post, or there's this there's a dash that AI creates that you can tell. So I mean that's why I say you can start with your own ideas. You can use AI to help you develop those ideas, and then you re-edit them after the AI. So you take that before you post it, you put it in a Word document or something, and you edit it to make it your own voice. You don't want to lose your voice. That's really important.
Use some links for website, region, some ideas.
Yeah, so this one here, this one is so here, let's see. If you scan this, this will take you to the presentation that I just gave you.
Jeremy, there's a question for you in the chat.
Yeah. Did it work? Is the link working? Yeah.
Can you see the question in the chat? By Urjit Mehta. Last, yeah.
So, Urjit, in terms of agriculture, entertainment, or healthcare, what I would do is I would first find a few companies in those sector that you are of interest to you. So maybe they're major companies, or maybe they're medium and small or medium enterprises. Find the ones that have a LinkedIn page. You go to their LinkedIn page and you follow. Then what you'll see here, also when you go to a LinkedIn page, you can also find the similar pages. So go ahead and follow 10 similar pages in each of those sector. In agriculture, in entertainment, healthcare, with AI and ML. And once you follow them, any of the posts that you feel are interesting, you can repost those with your thoughts. Hope that answered your question. Otherwise, if you don't mind, maybe rephrasing it. Top voice. So top voice, I'm actually not exactly sure how LinkedIn determines top voice. Although when you go into your profile here, what you can see is if you click show analytics, what you'll see here is your weekly sharing tracker. So you can see that it's telling you what are the actions that you can take every week to increase your engagement, posts, comments, and contributions. So contributions, I know, is one way that LinkedIn chooses who the top voices are. And you click add contributions, And then you'll see all of the different categories that you can add contributions to. So you find one of these topics that are of interest to you, sales. So we'll click sales, and then we can see all of these collaborative articles. And so we go down into how would you address conflicting information provided by customers on various channels? So we click in there, and you can add your perspective. So if I click there, you can add your perspective here. And see, we have a pop-up here that says, we are evolving the way we reward top contributors. So this also leads you to what will happen if so what changes are coming? So if you currently have a gold community top voice, please note that it will expire. So I'm not so there's more information in this article if you want to go in there. If you search LinkedIn top voices, and you can learn more about how they choose what the top voices are. In terms of articles are a great way if you do want to establish yourself as a thought leader on your LinkedIn homepage. So again, you can see this is your LinkedIn feed. As you scroll, the feed is there. So you can see this person commented on this. I don't follow this person, but one of my connections does, and they commented here. And so it showed up in my feed.
Jeremy, we have two more questions in
Yeah.
the chat for you.
Yeah.
One is, does connection count matters once you reach 500? And
Yes. Yeah. So connection count does matter. I mean, it actually really depends on like what your goal is on LinkedIn. So if your goal is to have more reach, more engagement, if you want to become a thought leader, if you have a product that you're selling, or you want to drive traffic to one of your websites, the more connections you have, the more engagement that you'll be able to drive. That's something that does matter. And it also, if you want to have a wider network, say you want to be connected to like the example I used before, a procurement manager with somebody that you're not a first connection with. Usually if you have a larger connection, then you might be able to find somebody within your first connections that can give you an introduction to a second connection.
And I think one last question,
Yeah.
and we can.
So how to find new in-trend hashtags for posts on LinkedIn for better reach. So a lot of people are saying that actually LinkedIn is no longer indexing the hashtags. So it's debatable about how the hashtags are actually working on LinkedIn, because I don't believe, see up here, if you want to search, you can search certain hashtags. So if we search Ahmedabad, right? What I believe is that this is a very underutilized feature of LinkedIn, that people are actually using the hashtags to find content. It's more likely that using the Sales Navigator or some other plugins, they're using that to find the posts. So for now, what's important is that you can use 3 to 5 hashtags that are relevant to the content that you're posting within that field, whether it's academics. Here we have liberal arts education, undergraduate, computer science. These are hashtags that Ahmedabad University has decided are relevant to the posts and help increase the engagement. All right, so I think we've run out of time. So thanks again, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your program. Should I turn it off or end it?